Hey, here are 5 stupid things I've noticed since last time. Evangelical pastor tells atheists to leave the United States. I love John Hagee. I mean, I don't love him, but I do love to make fun of what a big, stupid, blustery asshole he is. For decades, he's been taking the stage of his massive Cornerstone Church in San Antonio, Texas, to scream about the evils of secular humanism and homosexuality and rock music. And I can't tell you how amusing I find it when some cranky old Christian complains about young people today listening to rock music like this is the late 50s or something. Anyway, about 2 weeks ago, Hagee took to the stage at Cornerstone and had this to say.
To the atheist watching this telecast, if our belief in God offends you, move. We don't want you and we won't miss you. I promise you.
Oh, please, Mr. Hagee, can't I stay in your country, please? I'll be real quiet, and I won't speak out against your irrational beliefs or your bigoted attitudes or your self-righteous attempts to force everyone to live by the rules of your church either. I promise. Except, you know, the opposite of that. NASA cancels X-ray telescope. NASA is canceling the GEMS Explorer, which would have launched in 2014 or 2015 to study black holes and neutron stars and other extremely dense astronomical objects because it was projected to run 20 to 30% over budget. And I say good riddance. In these tough economic times, what are we doing pointing space telescopes at black holes in the first place? We've all got to tighten our belts around here, and that includes the federal government and especially those spend-happy scientists and engineers at NASA, whose entire annual operating budget accounts for a whole 0.5% of federal spending. Middleboro, Massachusetts creates town-wide swear jar. Residents of Middleboro, Massachusetts voted last week to approve a statute imposing a $20 fine on anyone heard using profanity in public. What words are defined as profanity according to the statute, which comes on top of a similar town bylaw passed in 1968? Fuck, shit, cocksucker, motherfucker, bitch, cunt, twat, dick, varlet. Well, the statute doesn't actually define which words are banned. That's left up to the discretion of the police, and that always works out well. Here's hoping that the town's legal counsel enjoys his or her inevitable trip to the Supreme Court. Faith-healing parents spared jail time after letting son die. In 2009, Greg and Jalea Sweezy of Carlton, Washington stood by for 3 days and did nothing while their son Zachary died from a ruptured appendix. And when I say they stood around and did nothing, I mean they prayed for God to heal their son, which is the same fucking thing as doing nothing. Last month, a jury acquitted the Sweezys of murder, but deadlocked on charges of manslaughter. And just a week before last, the Sweezys accepted a plea bargain, which, provided they comply with its terms, makes it very unlikely that either of them will do a single day of jail time as a result of the death of their son. The deal also requires them to contact Child Protective Services should their remaining child, a 4-year-old daughter, get sick or injured. Hopefully, they'll be calling CPS on the way home from the fucking doctor's office. Anyway, the prosecutor said he was concerned in crafting the deal with protecting the Sweezy's surviving daughter. But you know what might protect her and all the other children in this country unfortunate enough to be born to parents as blind and stupid as the Sweezys? If we stop allowing people like the Sweezys to use their demonstrably false religious beliefs as a defense when they let their own children die, and instead start locking their asses the fuck up. People who want to run the government like a business. Last week, Mitt Romney appeared on Neil Boort's radio show and said he supported the idea of incentive pay for politicians, including himself, should he be elected President of the United States. The website thinkprogress.org recognized this as sounding a bit like an old Saturday Night Live sketch, where Ross Perot, played by Dana Carvey, suggested foregoing his constitutional salary, should he be elected president, in favor of just taking a piece of the gross national product once it grows beyond 3%. I remember that sketch. It was on when I was 12 years old, when I was still watching Saturday Night Live. I'm a businessman. Mitt Romney says, and I'll run the government like a business. The problem is, it's not a business. It's a government. It doesn't exist to turn a profit. It exists to govern, to arbitrate disputes, to provide good and necessary services to the people. Generally, to do what it can to ensure that this is a free and just society we're living in. And the thing is, there is great profit to be had in that kind of a government. It's just not the sort of profit Mitt Romney understands. The hardest part is only picking 5. Catch you next time.